Well, hello and welcome back. You can see we have the beautiful autumnal colours. I'm videoing this at the very beginning of November because today I have some new bags. Yes, I've made videos about not finding any bags, and I really didn't find the bags. I just kind of decided to take a punt on something that's already on the market. There seems to be two types. There's very expensive, well-established bags, and there's kind of cheap but stylish. And I thought I'd try the cheap and stylish. So in today's video, I'm going to share with you the fitting, how I got them on the bike, share with you what I like about them, what I dislike, or rather what I not so much dislike, but what I think are the weaknesses, because there seem to be different approaches in the way you fit to the bike, and just share a little of my experience of fitting some equipment. It's basically, remember, I'm not a professional or really that mechanical. I'm just another guy with a bike who just shares his experiences to the men and women out there who ride and might be interested. I'm going to share what I wanted to find and what I was trying to find over the last few months. Now, it's only one bag, but if that is of interest to you, then stick around with me, musician on a motorbike. Well, it is a beautiful time of year, this. I love the colours of the trees, and I don't think I'm going to get much sun today. So in the few moments, or whatever little or however much, I am going to try and enjoy it. Now this video is something I've been wanting to put together, which is based on a bag I have finally decided to take the plunge with. There seem to be some nice expensive quality bags, and then there's cheap and stylish bags. They're fairly functional, but well, part of this video is to discuss my discovery and what I've learned from the actual bag that I finally chose. I fitted some military style bags. I was inspired by a friend who has them attached to his classic 350 sand military style bike, and I thought, I wonder if they look any good on this. Well, I happen to think they do. So what I'd like to do now is switch over, as I was fumbling around in the dark because I had no instructions, no real pictures to look at. I was just trying to figure out how the bits and pieces initially went together before attaching it to the bike. So let's switch over to the dining room now, and let's walk through what I found in terms of putting it together.
Well, hello. Today we have some new luggage for the bike. Yes, finally, I've managed to get my hands, or more importantly, make a decision on what luggage to actually put on my gorgeous classic 650. And here it is in front of me, still wrapped. Now, it came in a box, of course. I didn't think you needed to see me opening the box. There's enough videos of that. I wasn't even going to do a video of me putting it together. However, I have noticed that there are almost, at the time of recording, as far as I can see, no videos of anybody putting any luggage on a classic 650. Maybe they're just busy putting on the luggage and enjoying the bike. But anyway, I've decided to share this. Now, I've gone for an eBay. Well, actually, I will mention the company. It's an eBay, but I got it from what they call themselves, Royal Enfield King. And it came fantastically packed, beautifully packed. You could see whoever put this together in terms of packing really took time to make sure everything was safe. I've got the raw components. It doesn't come with any instructions. So I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing right now. So you are literally going to find me figuring it out as I go. But I'm not going to leave the video running. I am going to jump to the important bits, just so you get an idea, because you don't need to see everything. I'm not preparing an instruction video. So what we've got lots of bits of metal, beautifully black powder coated. And as you can see behind me, I went for the military style panniers. I thought these looked fantastic on the Classic 350. And in fact, it was seeing a friend's Classic 350 that really spurred me on, because I thought they looked really good. And my trip machine bag, which is a kind of light brown leather, kind of like just shows that that light brown leather goes really well. So I thought I'd see what these are like. Now, if these are good and I like them, and they go well with the trip machine bag, which I'm pretty sure it will, then there's a chance I might even get some of those leather bound straps for the handlebars. So we start to get a colour scheme here of red, cream, and kind of brown sand sort of thing. So anyway, let's get on with what we've got. The bags are amazing quality. I'm sure that you're familiar with these. Shouldn't have to do too much. I say amazing quality. I don't know what I was expecting, but when they arrived, you don't pay a lot of money on eBay for these things, let's be honest. You pay a lot of money, there's a lot of companies, because my particular favourite that I really liked was Long Rides, actually. I really fancied that, but you know, I don't know if I'm going to be keeping this Classic 650 for the next 20 years, or whether I'm just going to be keeping it for the next 20 months right now. I don't know. So I didn't really want to be spending a fortune on bags. So I thought I'd start with these. And as I say, my expectations were quite low, but they are just really nicely done. They've got, they're lined inside, and then it's kind of, you can see a liner here, and then behind the liner, it's like a plastic. So while I wouldn't use the word waterproof, because as I learned in the watch world, waterproof means it absolutely, you know, doesn't let anything in. Water resistant, I would be pretty convinced that these would be quite water resistant. So yeah, I was quite impressed with the quality of what we've got here. These straps are, they kind of feel, I almost feel plasticky, but it might just be they're just water resistant nylon of sorts, I don't know. But anyway, obviously age and time will see how good the quality really is. But from what I can see so far, you know, I am more than impressed with what I've got. As I say, my expectations were quite low, so this is quite good. You've got Velcro on the side and Velcro inside the lid. And then, of course, you've got the straps that hold it down. On the back of the bag, you've got three kind of like straps that hold it on, that have got a belt buckle type arrangement, three of those there, and then you've got a Velcro one at the bottom, which will obviously attach to the rails that go on the side of the bike, which I'm going to figure out. This is the hardest bit. And what I have idea at the moment is, the idea that I've got is that I'm going to be possibly removing that rear luggage rack. You know, the luggage rack that goes on the back that I've got, where I've got that lovely Q bag. Yeah, I might take all that off, because this is all the luggage I need, and so far no one's ridden with me. So while I'm adding a bit of weight to the bike, I thought I'd take some off. Anyway, that's kind of the plan in my head. The rest of it is really, I'm going to figure out as I go. So here we are. Let's have a look at what we got here. The other thing each bag comes with is a strap, a carry strap. So if you were to unhook it, you've got hooks on each side of the bag, and then you could, if you wanted to, carry the bag around with you, which is kind of quite cool, if that's what your thing is, particularly if you're going away. So I'll leave those there for now. And now I've got lots of metal. I've got a couple of bits here, a couple of bits there, I've got a couple of bits here. I've got nuts and bolts and spacers and washers and all sorts of stuff there. And I've got a couple of things here and no instructions. So you know, and as anybody who've watched my channel before, by my own admission, I am the least mechanical amongst most of you. So this should be an interesting exercise. Now, the only thing I do have is a picture. So my iPad is in front of me here simply because I've got the picture from the website, and that gives me a clue as to what's happening. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put one of these aside, gently put it down on the table, and I'm going to split. So we've got two lots of everything for me to work with. So here we've got the metal parts, and here we've got the nuts and bolts, the black metal parts. Okay, so what should we do first? Let's unwrap these. Right, 2 of these. Yeah, I'm looking at this. This looks like it sits on the top, the one with the 2. I'll put that over there. Don't know why it doesn't have instructions. Even a few diagrams might have been helpful. But with what you pay for it, I guess it's part of the fun, isn't it? All part of the fun of figuring this stuff out. They are beautifully finished, I must be honest. As I say, I had very low expectations, but, which is probably not a bad thing, because they're surpassing that. Okay, right, so there we have our frame. Okay, now I can see from the picture that it looks like that this top thing here faces in towards the bike. And then what I've got is this bit here goes at the bottom by the looks of it. And then I've got, looking at this picture, a bit that goes up and over goes on the top there. The bit with the 2 connections goes on the side here. And then we've got the last bit that goes down there. And each is connected, each of the side ones, with 2 nuts and bolts, and the top one looks like it's 1. There doesn't seem to be a top and a bottom for this. There's a slight mark, so I'll make that the bottom. You know, I must say that making a video like this is, you know, it's not well planned. People normally put these videos together and they know exactly what they're going to do. They've scripted it, they've practiced it, they've rehearsed it, perhaps they've made a few. I just make this up as I go along, of course. I think a lot of people do on YouTube. We're kind of sharing the experience of figuring it all out. Okay, so I've got the socket, I've got a 10mm socket. And these little chaps on the back here. There we go. Don't think that's going to go anywhere. Right, that's the first one on, and that's quite nicely done. Now there is a bit of movement here allowed. I'll put it in the middle, which is what I'll do with them all. And when I line it up with the bike, I might have to loosen and move things around, but we will figure that out when we get there. Right, let's have a look. Let's have a sip of my coffee before I forget that. Now the only thing I would say that is, if you've got OCD, these might not be the panniers for you, because there are some things not quite looking as they should. But if you're not that fussed and you just want something that looks good, is going to work, then you could save yourself a fortune with this kind of stuff. Okay. Now there's a good chance that's close. And actually, I'm pretty confident that might be the right way round. Pretty confident that might be. Okay. Right, so that's one done. The next one should be a breeze. So these nuts and bolts, I'm assuming, are, as I predicted, the ones to fix it to the bike. Which is interesting, because we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we've got 1, 2, 3. And obviously doubling that is 6. So we've got 2 extra parts. Maybe I'll have spare bits left over again. Who knows? Right. Now I've done these, let's take a closer look just so you can see exactly what I've done. Okay, right, so you can see they're both side by side now, and you get an idea of how they're going. So the first mistake I made was this particular bracket goes underneath, obviously, and then these ones go in front. Oops, these ones go in front here, and then the same on the other side. Okay, figure that out. Now the little nut that was a little bit, if you look at these two here, they kind of fit in quite nicely, they're fine. But over here on the other side, what you can see with this one is you can see just in there, that looks like I haven't done it up tight enough, but actually at the bottom, it's completely, this is hard against this. So this thing needs to be bent forward in order to level it off. My worry is if I bend that, I snap it off. Because if you look at some of these welding joints, as you can see, they are more works of art than the high quality we might expect to see on some components. But you know what? If they hold, I'm okay with that. They're painted black, and these will be, that's in facing the bike, so you won't see this. And by the time the bag's on, you won't see anything else. So I don't think that's a big issue. I think that's enough for now. Let's go and see if it actually marries up and works on the bike. So let's head on out.
Well, I hope that's a little useful for anybody who does buy these types of bags. I certainly could have done with this video before I bought them, just to see what the different types of kind of configuration, or what it looked like fitted together, I should say. Now, in the next part of the video, what I was planning to do is a full fitting, you know, actually getting the whole thing together. However, that didn't quite go to plan. Let me get around this bend and I'll tell you all about it. Yes, I went out to the garage and looked at all the nuts and bolts that I needed to remove and replace. And never having done it before, I had an idea. I thought, I know, I will fit one bag and then I'll film the other one, because I'll have had the experience by then. So I fitted the one bag and I thought I was doing quite well, and I made quite quick progress. And then it all went a bit wrong. It was the spacers that confused me, and the size of the bolts that they provided weren't really long enough. So I ended up having to reconfigure using some of the bolts I'd taken off and moving them around. And because I was a little bit lost in my own thought, I then started the other side, and before I knew it, I thought, actually, I'm not sure I'm ready to film this. It's just not fair. However, the supplier, well, I got these off eBay, the supplier that sent them to me, when I wrote to them a note, they did come back immediately with a video. And so I'm going to put a link to the fitting video in the description. So why would I need to make a video? It's already there. But there's no talking or sharing. So what I'm going to do is just share you through some of my experiences of the actual fitting. So let's just look at the fitting to the bike and share a little bit of that video. And if you want to see the full video, it's in the description. Okay, so what I'm going to try and do is find somewhere to pull over and then hopefully show you the bags fitted and also just talk through a little bit of each fitting and what I liked and disliked. Right, well, I finally found a place to stop. It seemed that everyone had the same idea today, to stop where they were. So hopefully we won't get disturbed too much here, and I hope you can see everything okay. So let me just talk through roughly what happened. So you can see the bags on the side here. They're empty at the moment. I've added on these Union jacks. I thought they looked quite nice. Copied that idea from someone else, obviously, because it was a good idea. All the best ideas are plagiarised, I think. But yeah, quite nice. So not very expensive. Canvas style bags. Nice black fittings. Very solid. Absolutely not going anywhere. And it just fits in with the bike. I think it looks good. So here's my experience. Now what you notice is there's 3 fitting areas. This one goes under the handlebars of the seats, for the passenger. This one goes onto the front bolt in front of the suspension, and then this third arm goes down here, and then at the back there's nothing. So you've got those 3 connection points, which all seem to work. Now the alternative seems to be that this arm here, the middle arm of the 1, 2 and 3, on some bags fits on the suspension. Now that does mean you have a little less kind of coming back here towards the suspension, which is quite neat. Obviously that sticks out a long way. I do remember speaking to somebody, oh no, I didn't speak to them. I do remember on the internet a few years ago, I think it was a Super Meteor 650, where somebody had tightened up this nut with some bag connections, and they'd done it so tight that after a lot of commuting, a lot of miles, this actually fatigued and the whole thing just fell apart. So I was always nervous about using this bolt. I'm sure if you could set it to the right torque, and most people do ride with that, and it's not a bad thing to do, but that just made me conscious. So connecting to this bolt was much easier. You've got a bolt. If you look at the original here, it's just a bolt that kind of sits inside and connects the rear mudguard. So what they do is they provide a spacer for this, and then there's a spacer down here. Now without the instructions, I didn't know which was which. This is a small spacer, this is a larger one, and I must be honest, I tried it multiple times and just couldn't get the right fitting. So I ended up redeploying this bolt from somewhere else that was already fitted to the bike. It might have been here, and that was long enough then for this spacer to work, but it basically, the supplied bolts weren't long enough. So I've moved one round, and they don't give you an instruction, so I just kind of a tip, you might need to move round if you do use that. And then of course this one they do supply, which is a longer bolt, and that did work, but only with a smaller spacer. If they'd have just given the 2 smaller spacers, you need this to come out because it's countersunk, it goes right in. I don't know why they didn't just make them both this size, because that smaller size seems adequate to me, but there may be a reason, I don't know. Anyway, it fitted. So what do I think? Well, the good news, I think Hitchcock's do one online. A lot more expensive. These obviously you get all in, anything from 100 to 123 UK pounds for the bags and the frames. Now there's some welding around here, which I think I might have mentioned in the when I was putting it all together, that are not really of the highest quality. But then you look at this on the Enfield bike, you know, that to me is not exactly, you know, neat. But it's fine. It doesn't bother me. I don't look at it. I don't notice it. And this one, even less so. It's not only black, but it's covered by a bag, so you can't see it. So, yeah, that's what I've got. And then some of them only have 2 connections. I think with the Hitchcock's one, you have to remove this handle. That's what I was actually about to say. This needs to come off. So it's a bit closer in, a bit higher, but that needs to come off. So at least with these ones, the passenger can sit on the seat. And yeah, so there you go. That is just basically how I connected it. 3 connection points. You need a longer bolt here because obviously it pushes it out slightly, a longer bolt there because you've got the spacer, and a much longer bolt here because you've got another spacer. And you'll also notice I've put my rear seat back on. Alas, my Q bag. As much as I love the Q bag, and I think it's a fantastic bag, it just didn't look right with these lovely military style bags and my trusty trip machine. It just kind of seemed to sort of set the tone much better. So there we are. So that's what I've done with the bike. Some others might have noticed that I've also added back on my Apple CarPlay unit. To be honest with you, the amount of times I was riding around with my phone on the handlebars, that doesn't distract much more. So yes, so there we are. So I've got the 2 bags, the trip machine, the 3 bags in total there. I think that looks quite nice, personally. Love this colour, absolutely love this colour. I love the black and the teal as well. I mean, I think they're all great, but I particularly like this. So there we are. Right, I'm going to take some pictures, but then I'm going to get back on and head off and go for a little ride somewhere. Yeah, so I think it looks rather nice. I'm quite pleased with it. There's a couple of more ideas, simple ideas that I've got for this bike. I mean, I want to get some electric gloves. That's not for the bike, that's for me, to keep my hands warm, which is another reason why taking the Oxford Super Muffs off seemed like a good idea, because I think they'll be great. Let's go down here. But I know many of you might be asking, what is he going to do with that Q bag if he liked it so much? Well, I was thinking of buying a Himalayan 411 to slip it on. I mean, it seems such a shame to waste the bag, doesn't it? What do you think? Anyway, I hope that was useful. I hope you enjoyed my little introduction and the fitting of my bags. If you have any comments or thoughts, your own, or any questions, do put them in the comments section just below the video. I do read them all, and I'll be only too happy if I have any experience. Or if you have any thoughts as to what you think could be done better or different, then also share that as well. And I'm sure that myself and others will benefit. Anyway, that's all for now. Take care, ride safe, and I look forward to catching up with you in the next video. Thanks for joining me, musician on a motorbike.